Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back. I'm glad you could join me again today. Earlier today, we learned what to do when we're reading, and we come across words that have blends at the beginning and blends at the end. We learned that we can touch and say the blend and not just each letter, and it helps us read faster. We can decode faster. Well, now we're going to work on it spelling. What to do when we're writing and we need to spell a word and we're not sure how to spell it. Well, with blends, remember I told you you can hear both sounds in the blends. So when I say bull, I know that's BL. And when I say pull, I know that's PL. But I can still hear the pull and pull. And I can still hear the bull and bull. I can still hear those sounds. Both sounds are still there, but with reading, it helps us read faster, and it can help us when we're writing too. The thing that's tricky for us with blends are the nasals. Those are really hard when there's a nasal at the end. Now remember, nasals are the M and the N sounds, the and the N sound that we've learned. And M and N, the comes out our nose, and the N comes out our nose. Those sounds come out our nose, and we call those nasals. Now, where those are tricky is when we're trying to write a word that has a blend at the end that has an M or an N with it. Because we often have trouble hearing those because those don't come out our mouth, they come out our nose. So that makes them a little bit tricky. So we're going to work on those today. But before we begin, I'm going to say some sounds, and I want you to write the letters that make those sounds. Ready? Y, y. What letter would you write down to spell the Y sound? Write it down. If you wrote down the letter Y, you're right. Good job. What letter would you write to spell the ah sound, like olive, olive? What letter spells ah? If you wrote letter O, you're right. Good job. What about this one? Ah, like an apple. What letter says ah? Excellent. Letter A says ah. Good job. Okay, what about the w sound? Not the wh like whale, but the w like wagon. W by itself. Good job. What letter spells the S sound? That's right. Letter S spells the S sound, like in the word sun, our keyword sun. What letter spells the T sound, like in table and tiger and turtle? You're right. Letter T says T. Good. What letter says R, like in rabbit? R. Letter R says like in rabbit. Good job. How about this one? What letter says and comes out our nose? That's right. Letter M says Okay, let's do one more. What letter says P? It's a lip puffer. Lips are together and it's unvoiced. P. Letter P. That's right. Letter P says P. Okay, now then, we're ready to practice writing the strategies that we use when we need to write a word and we're not sure how to spell it. So we do two things. The first thing we have to do is we have to pound to see how many syllables are in that word. And once we determine how many syllables a word has, then we can tap the sounds to see how many sounds are in the word. And then we can spell them. Now remember, on blends, you can hear every sound in a blend. So we're going to go ahead and slow down and spell those that way. Okay, are you ready? The first one we're going to build is the word stump. Say stump. Stump. Think about what your mouth is doing when you say the word stump. Good. The first thing we do is pound the syllables. So watch me. I'm going to do it. Stump. Do it with me. Stump. Do it by yourself. How many times did we pound when we said the word stump? Stump. We pounded one time. So that is one syllable. I hear the sound, and I know the is a short vowel sound. So it's going to have just one vowel working by itself, and it's going to be closed. So I already know that I've got the U. I already have that. But before we do figure out the letters we need to tap. So once we pound, we tap. So watch me. I'm going to tap the word stump. Watch me one more time. I have 5 sounds. Do it with me. Do it again with me. 5 sounds. After I do that, I need to match a letter for each sound that I hear. So the first sound that I heard was S. What letter makes the S sound? That's right. Letter S makes the S sound. So pull down your letter S, or you can write your letter S. Okay, let's tap it and see what the next sound is, the second sound. S, t, What was the second sound? S, t. I heard the t, t sound, and I know that t is spelled with letter T. St. Good job. So I have st, I need to think about that third sound. Are you ready? Watch me. St, What was my middle sound or the third sound? And that's letter U. That's right. Short U. So I have st, and I have 2 more sounds. Let's see if we can figure out what the fourth sound is. Tap with me. St, Where does that sound come out? Out your nose. And then our last sound. Let's tap it out. St, p. What's our last sound? P. The last sound is P. And I know that is made with letter P. Now, once I get my word built or written, I need to touch and say it slow and say it fast like a word, so I can check on myself to make sure I haven't left anything out. Stump, stump. Did I do it? I did. Okay, push your letters back up. And let's try another one. The next word we're going to do is the word spend. Spend. Say that with me. Spend. Okay. We're going to do the word spend. I will spend my money to buy a candy bar. Spend. Okay, this one's a little tricky, so let's pound the syllables first and take our time. Do it with me. Let's pound it out. Spend. Let's do it one more time just to be sure. Spend. How many syllables does the word spend have? Just one, because we just pounded one time. Spend. Now let's tap out the sounds to see how many sounds are in spend. Ready? S, p, e, n, d. Do it again with me. S, p, e, n, d. How many sounds? 5. And the first sound was what? S. Good. What letter makes that sound? Yes, it does. Letter S. Let's tap it out again to see what the next sound is. S, p, p, p. The next letter is, sound is P, and the letter that makes that sound is, you're right, letter P. So I have sp. Now I'm ready to see what the third sound is, and this is going to be tricky. You have to be so careful with vowels. Sp. D. What's that middle sound? It's like like Eddie, Eddie, That's letter what? E. That's right. Letter E says sp, d. Let's tap it out. Sp, d. What's our fourth sound? The fourth sound is, yes, it's And what letter makes that sound? Letter N. And remember, I told you sometimes when there's a nasal blend at the end, it's a little bit tricky to hear. Okay, are we finished? No, we're not. We have to figure out our last sound. Tap. Ready? D. What's our last sound? D. And the letter that spells that sound? D. Very good. There's the word spend. I like to spend the night at my grandma's house, and I also like to spend my money to buy candy bars. Spend. So after we build our word or write our word, we have to always check ourselves to make sure that we're right. So we're going to touch and say it slow, say it fast like a word. Spend, spend, spend. Were we right? Yes, we were. Okay, one more word. You're going to do this one by yourself while I push my letters up. The first thing that we need to do when we build a word, though, remember, is we pound to see how many syllables, and then we tap to see what the sounds are, and then we match the letters. So here we go. The word we're going to make is swift. Say that word with me, swift. Now, what are you going to do to figure out that word if you're writing and you don't know how to spell it? That's right, you're going to pound. So pound it out. And how many syllables did you have? Good job. You did just one syllable. Okay, now what's your next step? That's right. Okay, do it. Tap that out. Good job. So, how many sounds did it have? It had 5 sounds. Now then, what do? That's right. You have to match a letter for every sound that you hear. So do that. I'll give you a minute to do that. Keep tapping till you get it all built. Good job. Okay, now then, once you've built your word, swift, what do you need to do? That's right, you better check it, because sometimes we make mistakes, even grown-ups do. That's right, good, touch and say it slow, and fast like a word. Good job. Help me build it, swift, swift. One syllable, tap it, swift. 5 sounds. The first sound is S, so that's letter S. The second sound is W, and that's letter W. I. That's like itchy. Itchy. Not Eddie. See my mouth? I. My mouth is bigger. It's open wider on the E, the E, so it's I. That's right. Swift. Swift. That's letter F, and the last letter is T. Now I'm going to touch and say swift. Say it slowly, swift, and fast like a word, swift. Okay, boys and girls, here's what we learned today. When we are writing and we're not sure how to spell a word, we have some things we can do to help ourselves. We can pound and figure out how many syllables are in our word. Then we can tap out the sounds to see how many sounds are in our word. And then we can match a letter for every sound. But when we get it built or when we get it written, we're not finished. We have to touch and say it slow, say it fast like a word, to check ourselves to make sure that we didn't leave anything out. All readers have to do that, and all writers have to do that. Okay, I hope you have a great rest of the day. Be safe, wear your mask, wash your hands, and I'll see you tomorrow.